Are you a mind looking out into the world and orchestrating your life? Or are you merely a body that will one day die and decay? By the end of this video, you might be questioning exactly what you are as we explore 3 radically different responses to this question: dualism, materialism, and idealism. So, do any of these succeed? Let's find out. Dualism is the position that mind and matter are 2 distinct substances. René Descartes conceived the mind as essentially thought. Think about a fond memory from childhood, like riding a bike for the first time. You can't measure that thought or memory with a ruler, and so the mind, Descartes says, is non-spatial and non-physical, which means there's no reason why your soul, which is the same thing, cannot live forever. The body, on the other hand, is physically extended and divisible into parts. It will break down and die like your first car. But if the mind has no physical location, how can it cause changes in a physical body? Well, welcome to the mind-body problem, which remains unsolved to this day. Despite his confidence in asserting that the 2 substances interact at the pineal gland, the only brain structure not duplicated in both hemispheres, Descartes had trouble convincing anyone exactly how causal interaction between mind and body is truly possible, especially if the mind has no physical location. What's more, since the pineal gland's actual function is to regulate sleep, he now looks a bit silly. Gilbert Ryle thought so too, mocking Cartesian dualism as the dogma of the ghost in the machine. For Ryle, the mind and body are a unified whole, and to treat them as separate substances is to commit a category error, similar to mistaking team spirit for an entity separate from the players of a sports game. If dualism has all these issues, what's the alternative? Well, one solution is to reject the existence of one substance altogether. This is known as monism. Materialism, a form of monism, holds that the whole of reality is composed of matter. The mind can simply be reduced to the operations of the brain. Sorry, mind. Democritus was a materialist. He believed that reality is made up of indivisible tiny solids called atoms. But today's materialists are more likely to categorize themselves as physicalists, to account for quantum fields and forces and subatomic atoms which have little or no mass and are difficult to describe as material. Physicalists, however, broaden the definition of matter to include anything science can study. But if everything is just physical, how can we account for your memories of riding a bike as a kid? Well, with the physical brain, of course. The problem, however, is we can spend all day talking about neurons and synaptic clefts, but that doesn't quite capture the subjective experience of having a memory float around inside your head. Materialism, therefore, has the difficulty of providing a satisfactory account of consciousness and our subjective experience. Our entire experience of the world is necessarily subjective. We navigate our lives via our consciousness. But explaining consciousness scientifically, and therefore materialistically, inevitably involves reductionism. That is, explaining something by breaking it down into its parts. But sometimes an objective explanation of the parts doesn't capture the subjective experience of the whole. Once we add the problem of accounting for immaterial principles and goods like numbers, truths, morals, and values, which many would argue have objective existence in some form, and we find ourselves in the existential crisis of realizing that science doesn't answer everything. So, despite its undeniable explanatory success, materialism struggles to account for subjectivity, making it hard to claim that it captures all of reality. Some think science will eventually explain it all, others remain unconvinced. As the Oxford Companion to Philosophy concludes, neither dualism nor materialism seems likely to be true, but it isn't clear what the alternatives are. Whoa, wait a moment, not clear what the alternatives are? What if we flip things around here? What if the physical world doesn't exist at all? For George Berkeley, there is no physical material world. Objects exist only as ideas in our mind. To be is to be perceived, is Berkeley's famous phrase. To the conundrum, if a tree falls and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Berkeley's answer is, there is no tree. So what if I leave a room and close the door? Does everything inside disappear? And if it does, how does it all spawn back in the right place when I re-enter? The answer? God's perceiving everything, duh! This ensures consistency in reality and prevents discontinuity errors in our experience, but it's unlikely to strike you as a satisfactory solution. So are you just a bundle of neurons, or is there more to you than science can explain?